The Chicago Bears have claimed a linebacker from the Atlanta Falcons. We'll tell you all about that addition in a moment. Plus, some more training camp news and notes before the Bears head off to Indianapolis for joint practices in this week's preseason game. And just coming in, a former Bear has signed with a new team. We'll have all that and more on today's show. And holy smokes, the Raiders report have caught us in our August subscribe battle. We're at 1,024 new subscribers this month. They're at 1,101. I challenged Mitchell Renz in the Raiders report to a subscriber battle this month, and it's neck and neck. I want to show him that we are right, and we have the most growth this month. So help us out. Daily videos. It's our second video of the day. Hit that subscribe button for more coverage. All right, let's get to the news alert here. The Bears have claimed linebacker Mykal Walker. Off of waivers, Keone Dang has been waived in a corresponding move, fellow linebacker. So one linebacker in, one linebacker out. Not going to talk about Dang much here. He wasn't really doing much in training camp or in the preseason. But Mykal Walker, statistically, actually had a pretty damn good year last year. Had 107 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 6 pass breakups, couple of interceptions. He started 12 games for Atlanta last year, played in 16 of 17. So he was mostly a starter a year ago for the Falcons. Now, the instant analysis from Atlanta's side of things is final year of his rookie contract, due $2.7 million this season that they could get out of. So kind of similar to like a Travis Gibson, Kindle Vildor situation. If the Bears don't deem them viable to make the team, you can save the money and move on. And I think Atlanta did it early to do him a solid, give him a chance to land elsewhere. Bears have claimed him, so we'll see if he can make this football team. More analysis on this signing to come, but get your red pen out. Grade the addition of Mykal Walker to the Bears. A, B, C, D, or F. Drop a letter grade down in the comment section. I'd give it a solid B. He's been a guy that's played in this league and has a chance to now make this roster. We'll see if he can do so. Now, this is where having the number one waiver claim order is big, right? Like, that's an advantage of being a bad team the year before, because throughout the entire offseason, camp, preseason, etc., roster cutdown day, I'm sure we're going to see a player or two the Bears claim. We saw 6 last year that they claimed on cutdown day. You get first crack. You can decide if you want to pick up a player that's been waived the day prior, and that's clearly what they've done here. Is Ryan Poles is continuing to shuffle on the back end of this roster, but in this case, I don't think it's necessarily back end. I think this is a guy who could have a chance to make this team. Now, I think it's going to be a bit of an uphill climb, as Walker last year had a 58.7 overall grade, 56 pass rush, 56 run defense, 60 in coverage. So he was a tick below average on PFF's grading system, but again, over 100 tackles and did start 12 games. The challenge for him is he's worthy, I think, of being on a team's 53-man roster. It's just, can he crack the Bears' 53-man roster? We know for sure that TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmunds, Jack Sanborn, and Noah Sewell are making this team. Those 4 players are locks. They will make the 53. Dylan Cole is on the right side of the 53 as that number 5 guy and as a special teams ace. But A, could the Bears carry 6? Or B, could they carry 5 and opt to go with Walker, who has some better linebacker traits than Dylan Cole does, who's more of a specialist? The point being is this linebacker room is pretty low. It didn't even mention Micah Baskerville, who's had a pretty good training camp and preseason up to this point. So it is going to be an uphill battle. He's joining, pretty far into camp and obviously a game into the preseason. But I do think the Falcons did him a favor by cutting him after the first preseason week to at least give him a chance if he were to be claimed to make a 53. I think he's probably got a 30-35% chance to get there. He's experienced. We'll see if he can crack the code. Will Mykal Walker, make the Bears' 53-man roster? Type Y for yes, or you can type in for no. I would lean no. I think he's on the outside looking in, but I don't think this is one of those typical claims where you're just throwing a dart. Maybe he's a practice squad guy. He will have a chance, I think. He's just going to have to pick up things very quickly. Before we get to some other training camp news and notes, let's talk about our sportsbook partner, BetUS. It's going to be a lot of fun betting on some games this season, and BetUS is the place to do it. Go to chatsports.com/Bears. Use our promo code BEARDOWN to get a 125% deposit bonus. $100 down, get you an extra $125 for free. They'll give you that deposit bonus up to $500. Great deal with BetUS. Now, the NFC North, as we all know, is wide open this year, yet Detroit has heavy favorites here as they're at plus 135. Next closest is Minnesota at plus 275. Look, I'm not saying I for sure think the Bears are going to win the division or anything, but I kind of like plus 350. I think it's a decent play here. $10 to win 35, 100 to win 350. I think it might be the best value play. Minnesota at plus 275 is good value as well. I don't love Detroit at plus 135. I think they are the favorites on paper, but that close to 1-to-1 odds, I don't think is great value. Packers, shockingly, bringing up the rear at plus 375. BetUS, get going today. Create an account, chatsports.com/Bears, promo code BEARDOWN. All right, let's get to some injury notes. Nate Davis did return to practice today in limited action. He's obviously missed most of training camp, and it's been a bit of a story that's been looming over this team. He was asked as he talked to reporters today where he's been. He has been at practice a lot of the time, but he hasn't been practicing. He said, respectfully, I just want to move forward. I'm back now. That's all that really matters. And let me first say this. Ja'Tyre Carter played really well in his absence, and he's been practicing with the ones and taking advantage of that opportunity. 7th-round pick from last year. I think the Bears may have something with this kid, so let me say that. Number 2, as far as Nate Davis goes, I guess I'll let that comment slide for now, but for a guy who skipped most of OTAs, which, fine, it's optional, whatever, but you are a first-year member of this team. You'd like to see him there. Has missed most of training camp. Like, okay, you're here now. Cool. You better be here and be playing well then, because so far it's kind of been a flaky situation. Now, if he's ready by week 1 and is playing well, I'm cool with everything. But so far, I don't think the Nate Davis experience has been the most ideal, if we're being completely honest. Now, how concerned are you with this Nate Davis situation, with him being in and out and missing a lot of practice in the first preseason game? Scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you're not concerned at all, 10 being you're very concerned. I'm at a 6.4. Like, I'm above just mildly concerned, but I'm not in the panic range. But this is something to monitor. I want to see how the next couple of weeks go. Hopefully he can get out there and play against Indianapolis this upcoming weekend. Okay, other players who did not practice today. Chase Claypool remains sidelined. Tremaine Edmunds as well. Jaquan Brisker, DeMarcus Walker. I mean, that's 4 starters right there. Lucas Patrick, one of your best backup linemen. Josh Blackwell, Terrell Smith remains out. I mentioned earlier, I think Tyreek Stevenson's won that cornerback job with him, as Smith has been sidelined and now Stevenson's balling out. Treston Ebner, who played fairly well in the preseason opener. Not sure why he didn't practice. Dylan Cole and DeMarquise Gates. Maybe a couple linebackers are nicked up. Maybe that's why they put out a claim for Walker as well. So 10 players not practicing. Another quick note, Yannick Ngakoue did more team drills today as he continues to ramp up after signing about a week and a half ago. Okay, let's look ahead to the next few days. Joint practices soon, as tomorrow's an off day. They're going to travel to Indianapolis. Then Wednesday and Thursday we'll have a pair of joint practices in Indy, which these are always fun, right? Usually they're scrappy. Sometimes fights break out. So we're going to have full coverage of that, and I'm excited for the week ahead. We get to see some competitive practices, and usually the second preseason game, at least in the era of 3 preseason games for the last few years, is the most competitive one. So I'm excited to see that as well. So Wednesday, Thursday should be fun with the practices, and then Saturday when the game is here, that should be a good time also. So be sure you guys are locked in for our coverage. And then one note that came in just before we started filming, Brad Biggs with the note, former Bears defensive back and special teams ace DeAndre Houston Carson is expected to sign with the Ravens, and I think it's a great landing spot for him. I was open to the Bears bringing him back, but I think they decided to go with some youth. A.J. Thomas, Adrian Colbert, Kendall Williamson kind of competing for that 4th safety spot. So good for DHC. He lands in a good organization in Baltimore, so wishing the best for him. All right, guys, we are signing off again, trying to get to 69,000 subs by tomorrow's live show. If we do, I'm doing a beer boot live on the show. We're 179 away. By the way, 179, that would pass the Raiders report, so we would retake the lead in new subscribers this month. Help us out, show out. We'll see you soon here on Bears Now.